Zach threw a bullpen yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? Excuse me, 2 days. Let's see. Today's what, Thursday? So it was Tuesday. He threw a bullpen without incident. He felt great. So he'll pitch on Friday, tomorrow, in our inter-squad scrimmage. He'll go 3 innings or about 45 pitches, and then I'm assuming that he'll be feeling fine, and that he'll get the start on Friday night against ULM. But he won't be out there for an extended period of time. I would say there's no way he'll go more than 5 innings, and I doubt that he'd even do that. So, you don't normally feel like you want to start off the season with a bullpen game, but because Zach's not going to be able to extend, we're going to end up probably pitching several pitchers that night.
What about Hilliard? How did he do last Friday?
Last night, too. He threw last night, and he was a little more sharp last night than he was his first outing. First outing, he just didn't have great command, and he just looked real rusty. Last night looked better, not as good as he can pitch, but again, I just left him in the training room the day after. He felt great. So, that's the best news that we have on McHale. He's feeling great. He should be ready to go for opening night as well.
And then with that first base mound, is there anyone separating themselves there?
Well, it's still early. We still have 4 more scrimmages. But I think that Drew Bianco's kind of taken the lead in the race. He's had a couple big days and, hit the ball real hard. But I'm not anointing him as a starting first baseman yet. What can happen in the next 7-8 days? So we'll see what happens. But I'm getting more confident that at least he's starting to show something, a little bit more than the other guys, and somebody's kind of taking the bull by the horns.
I guess
like that cliche.
I guess how far along is it?
Can't say that before we play Texas.
Is it?
Did you have something to ask?
Yes, sir. Yeah, keep going. I don't want to interrupt. Keep going. I guess how far ahead is he? I mean, is it his to lose? Would you say, or is that going too far?
Just right now, if we were to open tonight, then he'd be in the lineup. But again, we have a big scrimmage Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We've got another one next Tuesday, and there's a lot of things that go into it besides hitting, but I just thought Drew has shown a lot more pizzazz this week, and ever so slightly moved ahead of the rest of the group.
Eric Walker, how's he doing?
Eric threw 2 innings in an inter-squad game. I believe it was on Monday, and I thought he looked really good. Now, he didn't pitch like he normally pitches because Alan really wanted to just continue to develop arm strength and fastball command, so you didn't see him throw as many breaking balls and changeups as he typically would. And I hope that on Sunday when he pitches again that he'll do more pitching. But he'll be kind of in the same boat as Hess, assuming that everything goes good, and he'll be ready to start the Sunday game against Air Force. It just won't be a very long outing. I'm sure it'll be 3 innings for him.
Paul, getting back to first base, if you had a platoon situation there, who might be your left-handed?
Yeah, I don't really want to say right now, Jim. The 2 left-handed hitters, Beloso and Willis, are kind of nose and nose on that deal. So I really can't say, and I'm not sure that at the end of the day that it'd even be a pure platoon situation. Because if you platoon, the majority of the pitchers you're going to face are going to be right-handed. So that means your left-handed hitter is going to play the majority of the time. And I'd really rather just play the better player the majority of the time, the guy that deserves to play. So if that ends up being a right-handed hitter against right-hand pitching, then so be it. But we just got to let it play out another week.
Is it mainly those 3, or is Gavin Dugas still in?
No, he's still in the hunt. Gavin's doing a lot of good things. But in all honesty, I see Gavin as kind of the second baseman of the future for us, and he's still got a lot to learn as a second baseman. And I think sometimes when I move him over to first base and play him there, then it's just a lot for a young kid to absorb, And so I've been playing him exclusively at second base in these scrimmages, trying to get him to learn that position as well as he can. And I like what I see, but he's just sometimes mentally he doesn't see the game in its entirety the way that one of our players needs to see it to be an everyday guy. So at this point, he's not the starting second baseman. Brant Broussard is clearly the starting second baseman, maybe for the whole year. But we're going to keep working with Gavin and trying to get him ready, and I have really high hopes for him for the future.
Beloso and Willis Have they done anything individually that you've noticed?
No, they've both played about the same. They've had good days, good at bats, bad at bats, good plays, bad plays. I mean, it's just been one of those things that they both look like freshmen right now that are inconsistent, spectacular at times, and then, what was he thinking the next moment, Whereas, Drew, I think, has maybe just a little bit more, I guess, maturity for the college game, maybe because he's been around the college game his whole life. Maybe it's his personality, I don't know. But right now, I'd say Drew's just a notch above the other guys.
Ed O'Shawn was telling us that kind of a combined staff meeting, you guys and Maurice Hampton made a difference there. I mean, what do you remember about just kind of working together there with the staff?
Well, yeah. I've got a lot of experience in working with football coaches through the years, all the way back to the Air Force Academy, and certainly at Notre Dame we had a few. And then, the first person I met when I came down to talk to Skip about the job, I went to Les Miles' office before I ever went to Skip's office. Verge Osbury took me in there, and we talked about football, baseball players, and we had a great relationship. And this is the first time with Ed that we've had a football/baseball guy. And really, the football coach has to be the guy that drives the truck. He's got to say, I'm willing to support this because they're under a football scholarship. And I've had football coaches who say, I'm not letting a guy play baseball. I want him full time. And if that's the case, that's the way it has to be. I don't think Mo Hampton probably would have come down here if Ed would have taken that stance. That's my sense. I think baseball's really important to this young man. He's an excellent baseball player. And I think he wants to see how good he can be in the sport of baseball. So Ed made a choice that it was worth the gamble. We know what the gamble is, professional baseball draft. And also, limited time during spring practice and that type of stuff. So if Ed is willing, then I'm going to make it work. So I'll reserve a spot on my 35-man roster for Maurice. And, when he comes out to the baseball team, hey, he's going to have to earn a spot just like anybody else would, a starting spot. He'll have a spot on the roster. And listen, I think Mo's a great kid. I think he's an exceptional athlete. It's a very difficult thing to do, to play two sports, plus the academics, plus have a social life. It takes a really special athlete to be able to do that. My gut feeling is that Mo has those qualities to be able to handle it and excel in both sports, and time will tell. But nothing would be possible if it wasn't for Ed's support of doing it. So what happened, when Mo was coming in, Mo's been on campus here, it feels like 100 times in the last 3 years. And when he came in this last time, Ed's office contacted me, and so we took Sean Ochinko, our hitting coach, and Nolan Kane, our recruiting coordinator, and myself, and we went over to Ed's office and we sat down with Ed and some of his staff, and obviously with Mo and his parents. And I probably took a little bit of the lead of the conversation because I've had the most experience in dealing with these things, and it was a very blunt and open conversation. That really, Ed had to sign off on everything that we talked about, and I'm willing to help the football team any way I can to help, get a prospect here, but I'm not going to lie to anybody. And if Ed said it, then he's going to be a man of his word, and he's going to allow him to play baseball, and we're going to make it work. And I think we'll do that.
How similar is it to situations with guys like Jared Mitchell, Chad Jones?
Yeah, very similar. It's a very similar situation, and but maybe a little bit different because
level of baseball prospect?
Jared was a first-round draft choice, and Chad obviously could have been probably if he didn't focus on football. But the difference is when I was hired, Jared Mitchell was already signed and they were already going through the draft of his, after his senior year. So I don't know what arrangements were made with Jared before I came into the picture. And with Chad, I wasn't really sure how much baseball meant to Chad. I know football was first and foremost in his mind by a pretty large stretch. But with Mo, I can see where baseball is really in his blood. I mean, it means a lot to this kid. And so for him to choose to come to LSU, it had to be an arrangement that clearly allowed him to play baseball. And so that might be a little bit of a difference. I don't know what was told to Jared Mitchell because I wasn't involved in recruiting. And I know in Chad's case, yeah, I was going to cooperate and do whatever, but I think, to a large degree, the football coaches at that time thought that Chad would focus mostly on football. Whereas in Mo's case, I think he legitimately needs to be out at the baseball field when the time is right for him to be at the baseball field. So I think there's a little bit of a difference, a little bit more of a commitment to baseball, at least going in to the recruiting.
Where do you see guys, these pitchers, Beck, Peterson, Fondo, Gilbert, where do they stack up right now? What are you looking for?
Well, Peterson's going to unquestionably going to be our closer, and I think he's coming into his own. He's a leader. He's very dedicated. And he's got great stuff. Beck and Fontano have been throwing the ball as well as I've ever seen them throw the ball, and they're going to be vital guys for us. Not only do they have the talent, but they're veterans. And Caleb's just a little bit delayed in his comeback from his arm surgery, so he's not throwing the ball right now as well as some of those other guys. But those three veterans, the first three that you spoke of, are going to be extremely vital to our bullpen. They were pretty much our best bullpen arms at the end of last year, and now you're going to add some new guys into that mix, which is going to give us greater depth, I think.
Have you continued to be happy with guys like Marceau and Hill and the way they pitched?
Unbelievably happy. These kids are at a different level of freshmen coming in. Both Henry and Hill threw last night. Bianco hit a 3-run double off of Henry last night, but I was still very pleased with what I saw with Cole. He just walked a couple batters, got himself in a jam, and had to face a really good SEC hitter. And the SEC hitter got him with 2 strikes. I think Hill shut out the other team, the backup guys. He went 5 innings and pitched magnificently. Those 2 guys are going to be very special pitchers for us, and I just have to decide how we're going to use them after the first week of the season. They're both going to start. One will start Tuesday and one will start on Wednesday. And then we'll, kind of rethink it out. And I'm sure one of them will start against South Alabama. I'm not sure if one of them will start against Southern or if one of them will already get moved to the bullpen at that point. But once at least one of them goes to the bullpen, it's just going to make our bullpen even stronger.
And one of them still pitching Saturday? Marceau pitching Saturday?
Marceau's still going to start on Saturday, yes. Yeah, Marceau's been terrific. It's like every time, I challenge him and say, boy, Hill and Henry are really throwing the ball well. But then Marceau goes out there and just completely dominates. I think that kid likes challenges, which really leads me to believe that he's going to be as special as I would have thought he was going to be.
And you've mentioned Brant Broussard this year. Are you seeing him kind of stand out lately?
Brant's like a completely different player. Last year I felt at times he was walking around on eggshells, unsure of himself, almost timid. Now he's so confident. He knows what's going on. He knows what I want him to do. Not only is he playing well, but he's like a leader of the team. He wasn't very vocal last year. He's more talkative now. I'm expecting that Brant's going to have a really special season for us this year. And he's a great kid. It couldn't happen to a better person than it does work out that way.
I know he missed a few days, but Antoine back to his old self?
Yeah. Antoine had the back issue. And then when he came back from the back issue, for some reason he had changed a little bit about his batting stance. Sean and I recognized it, got him back, and the last 2 days he's swung the bat extremely well.
I'm going to start charging Brock with that the screen over there.
That's the second time he's damaged our brand new board. I said, man, I don't mind if you do it during the games, but do we have to do that in practice? Of course, I was saying that tongue in cheek, but yeah, that kid, if he gets a hold of it, he's got the power. He and Garza are both very strong men. So I don't mind us having to fix the scoreboard. If he wants to keep hitting them out, that's fine with me.
It's been a little warmer than usual this time of year. Is that
Well, Puxacani Phil didn't see a shadow, right? Puxacani, what's his name?
I can't see it.
Did I say it?
You said it right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He didn't see a shadow. That means we're going to have an early spring. Isn't that what they say? Okay.
Something like that.
So, man, I'll tell you, the weather yesterday and the weather today, what we wouldn't give for this next weekend, on the first weekend of the season. This has been beautiful out here. But we deserve it. You know, we went through the fall with it raining every day. It really affected our team. And I told you guys at media day, even before that, man, I hope we get good weather because we really need the practice time. And we've had the practice time now, so our team's ready to go, really, honestly. If it wasn't for Hess and Walker needing one more outing, I wish we were playing this weekend because we're about as ready as we can be. All the hitters have had close to 30 at-bats now. After this weekend and Tuesday, they'll probably be closer to 40. And, you know, hey, it's time to line up and let's go play.
Josh Smith is leading, and you're excited. I mean, healthy and
yeah. You know, sometimes you take a step back and wonder what last year would have been like if Josh would have been able to play all year. He's such a good player, and but this year he's even got a different personality about him. And I think having it taken away from him last year because of injury, Jacques has made him appreciate having it more. And so I see a different level of dedication. I see a different level of work ethic. I see a different level of leadership. There's never been any question about his skill, his talent. He's going to be as good a defensive shortstop as there is in the league. Either going to lead off or bat 3-hole for us. He's one of our best hitters, certainly one of our most clutch hitters. A mixture of hitting ability plus power. I mean, you know, you're looking at a guy that potentially could be a first-round draft choice in June. Certainly, first couple rounds, and you know, he's just, you know, it makes me be very confident in our team seeing him out there, you know, just running around and being healthy and playing the way that he is.
Cabrera, you talked positively about him coming on media day. How has he looked?
You know, right after I talked about him so much on media day, he didn't play too well the first weekend, but no, when I say play, he wasn't hitting as well as he normally does. But the last few games, he's been swinging it great too. And it just takes guys some time to get their timing down and see the ball, pitch recognition. You know, you can't be tentative and be a good hitter. And I think initially he was a little bit tentative, but the last week or so he's been swinging the ball extremely well. And we expect him to be a middle of the order hitter and an All-American caliber player. People ask me a lot, you know, what's the keys to our season? And you always think of, you know, who are the unknowns and, you know, who's that third guy, this, that, and the other thing. But for me, it's Zach Hess and Daniel Cabrera. They're the guys that have to lead our pitching staff and lead our offense. If Hess can be that Friday night guy that just goes out and dominates games and locks up against the Zach Thompson from Kentucky's of the world, the Tyler Dysons from Florida. I mean, you know those games aren't going to be high-scoring games, and you got to have somebody that can go out there and hold the other team down on a Friday night. If Zach Hess can be that guy, which I believe he will be, and if Daniel Cabrera can go from being a, you know, I don't know, not big on numbers, but, you know, go from being the 310 hitter to the 350, 360 hitter with a ton of RBIs, and go from being, I don't know how many home runs he hit last year, but if he goes out and hits 12, 15 home runs, you know what I mean? And he becomes that real force in the lineup, then your offense is going to be good. So both those guys are going to be the key to our season. Fortunately, they got a very good surrounding cast where they don't have to feel like it's up to them every time. I remember when Alex Bregman was here as a freshman, he was a consensus All-American, and you know, he had a phenomenal year. But he had Cats and Rhymes batting him, so when he didn't come through every time, but when he didn't, somebody else did. And that's what made us a special team. So you can't expect him to do it every single time the game's too hard. He'll do it a lot. And if he does it a lot, and when he doesn't do it, one of those other guys pick him up behind him, and we're going to have a good offensive team.
You get the sense that that experience playing for Team USA either helped him or increased his confidence?
He was pretty confident going in, but how could it not, James? You know, you're battling between Adley Rushman and Andrew Vaughn, and probably be the top 2 picks in the draft next June. And he was batting right between them, and he gave us as many quality at bats as those guys did. How can that not make your confidence great? he has every reason to be confident. The kid is very talented, and he's worked so hard on the outfield defense. He's become a very good outfielder for us. Last year, when he first started out, he was very unsure of himself, but just rep after rep after rep, he's really improved.